What's up, guys? I hope you're having a great holiday season so far. Wanted to drop a video about the A, B, and C game to help you kick off your New Year's with improved performance. It's a concept that I learned from Jared Tendler. Well, first I learned of it from EliGE, who I was talking to on a podcast, and he had expressed that this was one of the chief concepts that had really helped him improve his game as a player. And this is a few years ago now, but I investigated and I found out that these concepts came from his mental game coach, Jared Tendler, and he kindly connected us both as I was very eager to learn more. And I, of course, have two podcasts with Jared on my channel that you can check out. That's all about these kinds of ideas and the mental game performance. And I learned a lot, and I just absorbed everything that I could from his material. And it's really great. Like, it's, for me, the most comprehensive of all the mental game stuff that I've ever seen. And it's stuff that I've applied and found success with. And Jared Tendler is highly credible. He's had success in lots of different areas, with day traders, because that's a very like mental pursuit, as well as with poker players, also highly mental, as esports players, golf, all of these different areas. Jared has had some great success applying his methodologies. And so I definitely recommend you guys check out his book, The Mental Game of Trading, the latest book. It sets up this framework really nicely and this system. So, anyone can go and just read this book. And even though, by the way, it's kind of framed with trading, you'll see that all the examples, you're like, oh my God, I had that experience when I play ranked. Like, it's the same thing, because it's just human emotions, really. That is the mental game. So with all of that said, the A, B, and C game is just a range that is your performance. So our performance is a range, and you can be anywhere in this range on any given day. And firstly, I just want to say that this idea for me was very liberating, because I think that for many people, myself included, we've all experienced the question, I'm playing like shit right now. I know I can, and I'm over here, and I know that I can be over here. Why am I not over there right now? That's really frustrating. And it can be really difficult sometimes, because it can lead a lot of people to blaming their circumstances or the people around them. They just, are more blamey, because they know that they can be over there, so it can't be their fault that they're over here necessarily. Obviously, maybe depends on what day you catch that person on, but that's not obviously a good place to be in. So I think it's quite a liberating idea, because what it really speaks to is this philosophy of, okay, this is our range of performance. Let's quantify it, right? And so the A, B, and C part is the first step to do that. So okay, we've got our A part, which is our range where we're in our best performance, and then the B, which is the middle, and then the C, which is the worst parts of our performance. So what we want to do is we want to understand, how do we first quantify performance? So the way we see performance in the games that we play is in our play-making capabilities. So our ability to come up with the play in the moment, so our decision-making, and then our ability to execute the play with, hitting shots and doing all of the micro stuff that isn't, required to execute. And the interesting thing here is that it might not always be the case that the mistake that you make in a decision, or maybe missing a shot, is actually related to you not grinding enough deathmatch, or you not knowing what to do. Sometimes, you have every ability to hit that shot and you just missed it. And sometimes you know exactly the decision you're supposed to make, and you made a different one. Now, these are usually huge signs of mental game issues, mental game leaks in your performance. So, one of the first steps is to just understand what's happening. So we can say, okay, well, I made the play, but it was a bad decision. Did I know better? You have to be honest with yourself about this. And that's the first step, right? If you can say that, okay, well, I knew better. Well, okay, my lesson here is not in trying to say, okay, I've got to go and figure out how I can correct my theory so I can make a better choice, or understand how to read the game better to make that better choice. It's instead to say, well, what was going on around me making this decision? Why did I do something that I know I shouldn't do? It's and we've all experienced that, and it's so frustrating. It's just, we just feel like the greatest idiots, because we don't want to repeat mistakes. It's the worst. It means that you're not improving. You're just making the same mistakes. You're getting worse almost. It's like a terrible feeling. We don't want that. So what we need to understand is what's going on around us. So you can start to use these things I'm about to talk about as data points. So, okay, emotionally, where am I at? Am I feeling frustrated? Maybe with myself or my teammates? Are there any negative emotions? And if so, what are those negative emotions? What does my energy feel like right now? Am I really tired? Am I really energized and hyped up? Am I feeling just kind of low? Like, where am I on that scale of energy? Because for everybody, by the way, they play best in different kind of modes, energy-wise. Some people more chill, like me. That's where I play better, and some people more kind of energized. Bang, actually, for example, on 100 Thieves, I would say he's like the highest energy player that we have that plays really well with like high energy. It's actually for that reason that he doesn't drink caffeine or take caffeine, is because he's already an amped person, so he doesn't want to have extra amp, because if he does, then if you look at the kind of like sweet spot of performance as this bell curve, it would kind of push him over the edge basically, and then he'd be too amped to play well and would start making mistakes. So you have to kind of understand on this bell curve in a sense of energy, like where do you kind of play best. So there's that. It could be the case that, let's check in with ourselves, like more physiologically speaking, the basics. Am I hydrated? Did I sleep well? Did I eat well? Where am I with all that? Did I eat like a really heavy meal? Maybe am I too hungry? Am I not hungry enough? There's lots of questions you can ask yourself about your physical state, but you want to start checking in with things. And you also want to look at the context too. How well do I tolerate my surroundings? Because this is something that kind of plays into your ability to perform, is that sometimes we get overwhelmed with things we can't actually deal with. Sometimes there's too many things for us to be able to deal well with. We just can't juggle all of them. It's like having too many plates to spin at the same time. So you have shitty teammates, you're on a loss streak, maybe it is that you slept really badly and you're not hydrated. If you just add enough of these things, then it can be really problematic. So as we start to look at like what's really going on, we're quantifying it. We're taking stock. We're being aware. We can start to see, okay, well, what are the things we could be kind of improving or working on here to have better outcomes? And that's like one really great place to start. And for example, one of the reasons why Jared's books are so great is that he's very, very good at really detailing the kind of very nitty gritty aspects of our human psychology behind the emotions. So we understand that if we were over peaking or we were greedy, why is that? Because this is important, because you need to know why you feel like that, because it could be greed for one person, or it could be fear for another. It could be an overpeak that's based in like a fear response, because I'm afraid of losing the game. I feel like I have to do something, and that forces an error. Or it could be this, you could be greedy because you feel like I haven't got many spots to get kills, and I know that really improves my confidence, and I feel like I'm not confident right now, and if I get a kill, I'll be confident. So instead of making the right play, which is not necessarily involving going for a kill right now, you make a bad play to go for the kill because you have the wrong agenda there, the wrong outcome that you're looking for. So if we start to understand, why these things happen, we can make huge gains, because next time we're in that scenario, we're in our C game, we understand our mistakes and how we make them so well, and we understand ourselves so well that we can have strategies to deal with that kind of stuff. Or it's the case that you'll make that mistake and you'll put a flag in it and be like, okay, I know that I made this mistake, and these are the kinds of mistakes that I make, and these are probably the reasons why. So next time I'm in a situation in this match where I'm like wanting to peak, then I'm gonna just remember this. So you kind of plant that seed ahead of time, and that's really powerful, because sometimes it actually prevents. Oftentimes, if you get good at this, it will prevent future mistakes, because you just know your mistakes so well and the kinds of mistakes you make and why. So then you experience something really good, which is that you knew that you could have made this mistake and you prevented yourself from doing it. And then this is the kind of stuff that actually gets you out of your C game and starts to get you into your B and A game. You create a path all the way to the A game. Because remember how we said earlier that we get really frustrated because we're like over here in our C game and we feel like we should be able to be over here because we know we're this good, right? You can't force that. You have to create a path. And to create a path, you have to basically, each kind of node in this to the end destination is made up of many nodes, and each node to get to the A game is a potential mistake or a thing that could like set you back. Basically, it's like snakes and ladders, more or less, in that way. It's an interesting analogy, but it's kind of like that. And you don't want to kind of fall down the ladder and go all the way back to square one. You need to overcome these obstacles, and to do that, you have to be able to have the strategies and approaches. And to do that, you have to have the awareness. So we've always got to be checking in with ourselves to really quantify things and understand where it's coming from. This is a really big undertaking, by the way. I know it's kind of crazy there's all these factors at play, but this is really what performance is like. And we're human beings, we're really complex. So this is another reason why I found this system to be so effective, is because it really doesn't leave anything out. And there's a lot of systems I found over the years where it's oh, you should ignore this, or you should just focus past it, and so on. But this really looks at everything. It's like, well, you're experiencing something. Okay, well, that's important. Why? What are you experiencing? Let's deal with everything. And it's the most I think the best way to approach this. And similarly, I was just talking about all these things in your C game. Now let's look at the A game. The A game is really important too. You need to be really aware in the A game, and this is actually kind of hard because when you're playing really well, you're not going to be like, how am I feeling right now? You're enjoying it, like you're just in the zone, you're enjoying it, and it's almost antithetical to being in the zone to be in this sort of meta cognitive state of like observing the mode consciously, observing this conscious mode unconsciously, this unconscious mode consciously. It's like it's very difficult to kind of do that, but it's something that's really important because a lot of the time people actually psych themselves out of their A game because they're playing really well. I had this problem where I would feel like I would get like a fear of coming out of the A game, and then I would obviously just come out of the A game, right? Because I would become aware that everything's going really well, and I would start to question myself. And so I had to kind of go through a process to understand why am I doing that, like what's behind these feelings, and I started to understand some of the things behind that. And for me, it became related. Like one part of it was related to a fear of losing, actually, of playing so well that I will be in a position where it's not good enough, and I don't want to feel not good enough. And if I'm playing my best, I'm putting it all out there. So if I dial just a little bit back, I can always have that excuse, right? This is just, I mean, it was kind of, it was almost like embarrassing to kind of find that out when I really truly realized that. But it's just the complexity, the nature of human beings. We're not necessarily in control of a lot of these things. A lot of these ideas are imprinted on us or conditioned into us or whatever it is. Like it's not really in your hands. It happens because of your psychology and your genetics, all these things from a long time ago, right? So you didn't have it wasn't like you were in a character construction screen or whatever, like an RPG game, and you're like selecting everything. Like no, you have to discover what all this stuff that's going on, and you have to accept it and understand it's part of you, and then understand the strategies you can take to help to improve it. So I think Jared's book does a really good job of going into the nitty gritty of, okay, here are all the different human emotions that you might be experiencing. And then you can look at and read all of them and be like, oh, okay, well, what relates to me? Okay, because some of them might not relate to you. He also talks about confidence because that's a human emotion, and it's a very important part of competitive anything. So if you're more curious about understanding the emotion of confidence and how you can improve your confidence, again, it's another good place to go to find out more about that. But yeah, so you want to look at your A game and be aware of how you're feeling. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, some people are much more amped up than others. So you want to understand, let's say if you're going into a match, if you're someone that actually performs better when you're more chill, do things that help you to be more chill and get into that frame of mind. Don't kind of watch some, motivational videos with Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, and then jump into your competition matches like really amped up and like listening to all these like loud, very hype music and stuff like that. That's not for you if you're someone that's more chill. But you got to figure that out. You have to find it out. Only you can understand that. Only you can know. So you need to go on this journey of discovery. And then once you find out these things, you can start to create strategies. Well, we understand in this example that being more chill is helpful for me, so I can start to create this pre-match rituals or just approaches that help me to do that. I find that if I play too much, it makes me feel like a bit tired. I actually like to go in a little bit colder to matches. I can just start to understand all these things. So with all that said, I hope that this was a valuable look into the A, B, and C game concept. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. If you leave some comments in below in the video, I'll get on top of those. I hope you have a really great holiday season and that your 2023 is filled with many rank ups and improved performances, and that you feel really happy and fulfilled with your journey to self-improvement and not stuck. Feeling stuck is not fun. And so all the content that I make is generally for the purpose to help people that feel a little bit stuck get past that, over that hump, and to a more fulfilled place where they see that improvement. So yeah, cheers. See you on the next one.